This is Kirk Cameron on the right, Michael Knowles on the left. They are raging evangelicals who want to take down raging atheists. Let's listen to what they have to say here. They're taking down atheists on TikTok, I think.
Next one.
Do you believe in God?
No.
All right. Are you an atheist?
Yes.
Okay. What made you stop believing in God?
I never believed him from the beginning.
Okay. Did you did you have any religion at any point?
No.
Oh, bro, he just said no.
Okay. Do you believe in an afterlife?
No.
Okay. Do you believe in
No, the answer is no. No, he doesn't believe in any of that, okay? I think 6% of the U.S. identifies as atheist. These statistics might be different now. 2021, here's what it looked like. 70.6% Christian. And then we have unaffiliated or religious nuns, which is atheist, agnostic, nothing in particular. Or like religion is not important, for example. That's 22.8%. 22.8%. And then non-Christian faiths, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, are 6% total. Seems kind of uncommon to find somebody who just identifies as atheist outright, which is 3%. It's only 3% of the country. And this dude happened to find that like one of those 3 in 100 people?
scientific theory of evolution?
No.
Okay. What do you think man came from?
I'll try not to think of it. It's beyond me.
Okay, cool.
Interesting. Okay. Well, the answer is I don't know, I guess. Cool. I'll take that as an answer. I don't know. People need to get more comfortable saying the words, I don't know.
I'll try not to think of it. It's beyond me.
Okay, cool. Any words you'd like to say to people?
So,
It all gets summed up in that one line. I try not to think.
Don't worry.
Oh, that's I don't know what we're looking at right now or why, but that's the problem with people like Michael Knowles and Kirk Cameron. They shut their brains off and accept whatever these people are telling them. At best, they are asking for arguments that they can repeat later. At absolute best. There is no critical thought going into this religion subject for Kirk Cameron or Michael Knowles. So it's rich coming from them.
Be happy.
That's the existential trap that so many young people have found themselves in.
Existential trap. What? Not thinking? What? What are you talking about?
I'm going to smoke something or I'm going to drink something. I'm not going to think too much because it confuses me or it depresses me or it scares me.
Or it's rude. Some people think it's rude to follow ideas to their logical.
Okay, wow. I don't think it's rude, but I think some ideas should not be followed to their logical end. For example, in Germany, they followed the idea of eugenics to its logical end. If we have all white people, and we know that white people are superior, then we should follow this path to its logical end and exterminate all others. Like, some ideas should not be followed to their ends. And they're built on false premises, which pretty precisely describes Michael Knowles and Kirk Cameron's beliefs here.
Conclusions and then come to firm convictions. They think it's kind of like judgy or something.
Brother, nobody thinks that.
It's because it's judgy. But even judging a person for that is judgy.
You're right.
I don't know why you always have to be judging me, because I only believe in science.
So
Dude, okay, I've never seen that, but it looks funny. It's got Jack Black in it. I like that.
To judge somewhere. And if you're not thinking that you ought to judge between good and bad, truth and error, don't have kids.
Yeah.
Because your children could have very, very bad, wicked, evil things happen to them. And you're going to kind of say, what? I don't really think about it, son.
No, everybody has a pretty clear understanding of cultural morality. Again, Kirk Cameron doesn't get his morality from the Bible. He thinks he does. He does not. He gets it from the culture around him.
Hey, sweetie, there's really no such thing as good and evil.
This is why the church has concluded that the existence of God can be known with certainty from the natural world merely by human reason. There's much more to know from revelation, but the existence of God can be known with certainty.
And in the same way, for there to be...
No, it can't. It cannot. I can't believe he's even saying this. The existence of God can be known with certainty? I've watched a bunch of his atheist videos so far, and he's not given me any reason to believe that so far at all. None. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, let's continue.
To know from Revelation, but the existence of God can be known with certainty.
And in the same way, for there to be good or evil, as the previous atheist said, your God must be an evil God if he lets children suffer, there must be a moral lawgiver for us to even posit anything as evil. Otherwise, someone could say that cancer is not bad, poverty is not bad. That's just the way bacteria reacts at these temperatures.
We can say things are bad, and bacteria isn't always bad. Like, there's so much nuance to this, and we understand that nuance because we live in a culture. You got to be kidding me with this.
Right now, go to hallow.com/Knowles.
No, thank you, good sir. Gonna jump for. Who is this? Who should we not support?
That brings real meaning to this season. I am talking about Advent, baby. Advent, which is about a baby. It's about the incarnation. Now,
Look, he's got a leftist tears cup over there.
oh, if you are like me and you want to really prepare your heart for the birth of Christ instead of
Oh my God, what is this?
just getting caught up in the secular happy holidays nonsense, I have exactly what you need, and that is Hallow. Hallow is the #1 Catholic prayer and meditation app.
Oh, okay, now we know. No, thank you, good sir. The fact that Hallow is sponsoring Michael Knowles is all I needed to know about it.
Celebrate this season the way it was meant to be celebrated.
Something that we don't talk about enough, I feel like, is the fact that, at least to my end, I don't think you can choose to be an atheist. Like, there was a period in
Right, it's a conclusion. You cannot choose to be an atheist. You cannot choose to be a Christian. It's a conclusion that you reached.
At least to my end, I don't think you can choose to be an atheist. Like, there was a period in my life where I feel like I wanted to be a Christian, but it was like, it's not possible. Like, if you don't believe, you just don't believe, and you can't choose whether or not to believe. Like, religious people often frame someone's lack of belief as some sort of active refusal, but that's not really how it works. Like,
Right, this is what Kirk Cameron said earlier in the previous clip or something. You're just an atheist because you want to sin. No, has nothing to do with it. I don't want to sin. I don't sin. Like, I don't know what he's talking about.
even if I wanted to, and there was a time that I really did, I wouldn't be able to. I wasn't able to. Like, it's genuinely not up to me. Like, my brain just won't believe in things that are patently ridiculous. I don't control that. You'd have an easier time trying to convince me the tooth fairy was real.
Well, she makes one good point, which is you can't make yourself believe something that you don't believe to be true. But I do wonder when she says it's patently ridiculous. Okay, if her problem is really one of belief, and I'm not convinced it is. It might be a problem of behavior. It might be a problem of
Oh, she's just not doing it. She's not showing up to church every day. That's the issue. Right, okay.
that maybe cloud the intellect and that she wants to hold on to, but without speculating on any of that. If she really wants to believe,
He literally just speculated on it.
and she wants to avail herself of these ideas, has she read the church fathers? Has she read the doctors of the church? Has she at the very least exposed herself to the great arguments for religion?
There are no great arguments for religion. And it's like kind of frustrating to me that these people keep like interspersing clips of random TV shows like Star Trek or The Lord of the Rings or whatever the hell.
Probably not.
I suspect that she probably hasn't. But I also think that she's telling the truth. Not that these things are patently ridiculous, because no.
No, they are. I'm sorry. They just are.
They are the definition and standard of truth that we believe. But I think she is correct in that she can't force herself to believe. I believe, from my theology.
Yeah, no fucking shit. I think we all caught on to that. Thank you.
She can't force herself to believe. I believe, from my theological framework, that there are profound truths behind unbelief. And I think that the person who is proud of heart, who is hard of heart, is incapable because they are dead in their trespasses and sins. They are blind. And
oh my God, dude. That's a Bible saying, heart of heart. This is just sad. He cannot accept reality around him.
What they need is sight. I never found God when I became a Christian. I believe that I was
God found me, right?
the one who was lost, and he had to find me. He
Wow, knock me over with a feather. I can't believe he said that.
opened my eyes and saved me.
Yeah.
And that's what I pray God would do for this young lady.
Yep. Totally agree. Next one.
God, these people are so cringy.
As an atheist, you're still religious. How so? Well, you believe in science. You worship science. Your God is science. Our science, who art in reality, hallowed be thy facts. Thy studies come, thy proof be done, in time as it is in space. Please stop. And lead us not to fairy tales, but deliver us from mythos. For thine is the kingdom, the phylum, and the species, forever and ever. Amen.
Well, that was actually kind of clever.
Ah, what? That was creative.
It was creative. It was a little try hard, I would say, because I wouldn't say that the scientific atheists, well, I don't think they're all that scientific anyway.
Okay. Wait, is science good or bad in his mind?
But they're not religious in that religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves.
Okay, I'm sorry. One more time. What was that?
But they're not religious in that religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves.
A habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. What a wonderful piece of word salad. What the hell does that mean? A habit of virtue? What is a habit of virtue? We're talking like nun hats or whatever the hell? I don't know what that means. A habit of virtue?
So they're irreligious, they're not, but they do accept as a matter of blind faith, not even reasonable faith, certain things which are built.
There is no reasonable faith. There is no such thing. Faith is the belief in things unseen, i.e., things that you do not have evidence for, according to the Bible. There is no such thing as reasonable faith.
Accept as a matter of blind faith, not even reasonable faith, certain things which are built on Christianity. And they're not even aware of that. I guess they're not even aware that their supposedly logical thinking and their empirical observations really are grounded upon certain unprovable premises. For one,
dude, I love it. I love that this is coming out of his mouth. I don't believe anything. That's the thing. I'm rejecting what you believe. I don't have premises. I say, I don't know.
One, that the things that we perceive are real. Two, that your faculties of reason are reliable. Three, that there is such a thing as objective truth. All those premises have implications for the existence of God. They're standing on the shoulders of giants, the founders even of much of the scientific revolution, who were deeply Christian, most of them, and they think that they're flying.
I got a comment recently asking why I'm...
Hey, I know her. She's, this is Eve Was Framed, is her name. She's pretty cool.
Most of them, and they think that they're flying.
I got a comment recently asking why I make the sort of content I do, asking why I choose to define myself by that which I don't believe, comparing identifying myself as an atheist to someone who doesn't collect stamps calling themselves a non-stamp collector. Imagine if more than half of the country you lived in was made up of stamp collectors, with the majority of these stamp collectors believing that anybody who doesn't collect stamps is going to be eternally tormented. And many of their leaders made millions of dollars off their fellow stamp collectors through tithes and offerings. Imagine if stamp collectors became well known for their bigotry, their attacks on democracy, their support and protection of known and their inability to value consent. Imagine all of this, and then when you ask to see their stamp collection, they open up the book, and there's nothing. The pages are blank, and they tell you, have faith. When you die someday, you'll see the stamps. You too might start calling yourself a non-stamp collector.
That's interesting. I like that.
I guess the only problem with that analogy is every part of it. I don't know.
Are you kidding me? I mean, give me something, anything.
Imagine if a tuna fish suddenly sang out the songs of Puccini.
I don't understand. What does this have to do with it? I'm lost. Are they making a point that is it going over my head? Why is there a tuna singing now? I don't understand what is happening.
Like, okay, I can imagine that, but it's not apt. It doesn't really.
Right.
No, it does. It transfers 1-to-1, the stamp collecting thing. It perfectly and exactly applied to life today and what is happening in society. What did you miss here? I don't understand.
It's not apt. It doesn't really.
Right, but
like you can't just say it doesn't apply. It does apply. You're just going to tell us this so you don't have to give us an answer?
But, however, she's articulate enough to take, if you're following her all the way through this, I could see how that could persuade some people.
Oh, so it does make sense then, is what you're telling me.
I'm not saying it's good. It's a good argument.
point-
I don't think it is.
She
But
says, the stamp collecting organizations or the churches, and they don't pay taxes, and they make a lot of money, and
Yeah, I don't think she mentioned the tax thing, but all right.
they wield a lot of power. And I think, okay, well, churches don't have to pay taxes. They are targeted by the government. They're spied on by the current administration.
No, they aren't. What are you smoking? What is in that cigar?
But I think, what about just regular lib nonprofits and NGOs? They rake in tons of money.
Right.
They also don't pay taxes. They're talking about
Yeah, but they provide a public good. That's the point of a nonprofit. It's supposed to, I am super white right now. I'm sorry. Let me just see if I can change the coloring. Nonprofits are supposed to provide a public good. They're supposed to do something for society. And the government gives those companies that are doing something good for society subsidies by not making them pay taxes. That's the point of a nonprofit. So all that money that they would be paying toward the government, they can instead, for example, buy new beds so that people can sleep in them or whatever. Like buy, new buildings for homeless people, buy sandwiches to feed the homeless or whatever other thing. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But there is no public good being provided by churches. The churches provide community, I suppose, but that could be delivered by any other organization, literally any. It doesn't have to be a religious organization. What public good is Kenneth Copeland providing to people? Nothing. Why are they donating their money to him? They're donating it to get prayers from him or to get higher up in the chain of like, oh, God loves you most because you gave the most to him or whatever. Or they're paying for an invisible product that doesn't exist. They're paying for cures to illnesses sometimes. Religion is the only industry where it's legal to take money for a product that does not exist. Anyway, this bothers me so much, it's ridiculous. Religion should be regulated more than any other industry. Any industry. Because it's so susceptible to scams. I don't know if you guys remember this guy, Tilton, Robert Tilton, was that his name? Yes, Robert Tilton. Famous televangelist in the 90s and 2000s. He was famously getting prayer requests sent in the form of like envelopes, prayer requests, and they had money attached. And he was supposed to be praying for these people who needed something from him. And he was pulling the money out and throwing the prayer request away without even looking at it. Fake product. They're selling a fake product. That is illegal in every other industry in the United States. In my opinion, to be a nonprofit, one should have to prove that the company is providing some tangible, real public good. Education or food for people who are underprivileged or housing or drug rehab or something, anything. Tangible, real, not fictitious. I'm sorry, one more thing on this. Some organizations, some nonprofits do take advantage of the system, like the Wounded Warrior Project, for example, is terrible. They take money and enrich their staff with it instead of spending it on people that need it. They pay the management out the wazoo. And some of them even scam people by sending them a physical product in the mail, like stamps. For example, they'll send you stamps and they'll say, please send a donation for this item so that we can, whatever. And they'll have like a little checkbox with $25, $100, $200. The stamps only cost them like $3. When you get a tangible item from somebody, you feel obligated to give them something in return. It's a psychological scamming technique people have been using forever. In Times Square, there are these people that are dressed as monks that give you beads. Like they give you like necklaces and bracelets and stuff made of beads. And then they ask for a donation. It's a cult that makes their money that way. It's the same psychological tactic. Give a person something so that they will feel obligated to give you something in return. Even if it's worthless, the thing that you gave them. Even if it's completely worthless. So anyway, there are some scammy nonprofits out there. that I don't stand for. But my point is that an organization should prove that they provide some public good.
Talking about some sexual abuse scandals which have existed in the church in actually different ecclesial communities. But I think,
not
okay,
mine,
well,
not my ecclesiastical community, but other ones, you see. Okay, go on.
Scandals which have existed in the church in actually different ecclesial communities. But I think, okay, well, the rates of sexual abuse in public schools are twice the rate of that in Catholic churches or the Baptist.
Yeah, but you know what? Schools as as organizations or whatever are not covering it up and moving teachers from state to state to protect them from prosecution. That's the difference, or one of the main differences. Yeah, he's correct in saying that every demographic, every area of society has this problem. This exists everywhere. What matters is how the Catholic Church chooses to deal with it. Are they protecting them? Are they lying for them? Or are they holding them accountable? The answer is the Catholic Church is protecting and lying for them.
Baptists or even other religions.
And if it weren't for Christians and their standards of morality, I think that the rate of sexual abuse would be skyrocketing.
You're right, of course.
I think he says. Really? Okay. So are the rates of sexual abuse higher or lower? I don't know. In China or in India or Japan or whatever, anywhere like that? Hell, what about in the UK? That's a better one-to-one example because the UK is less religious than the United States. Is sexual abuse of teachers less common in the UK or more common than in the United States? He has no idea. He's just spouting this off pointlessly. And I actually don't know if it's higher or lower, but I'll tell you what I do know. Religiosity has no bearing on whether people are sexual predators. There are religious sexual predators. There are non-religious predators. Religion enables people to abuse others with a veil of protection. And people know that that veil of protection exists. You know, what's it called? The pastors or the preachers. Oh my God, the thing where they're protected from not celibacy. Oh my God, what's it called? The thing where they can't tell what has happened or what people have told them. Sanctity of the confessional. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Sanctity of the confessional. They're protected by the sanctity of the confessional. They can't legally be forced to tell the cops anything because of these legal protections. Predators know that, so they intentionally flock to these areas of society so that they can abuse it. Religion is an area of society that is so easy to take advantage of. Why would you not want to regulate it into the ground so you aren't being taken advantage of? Clergy privilege is what it's called, apparently, in law, says my wife. The point is that the church is protecting abusers, and abusers know that they're protecting abusers, so abusers go there to be protected.
So they wouldn't even be considered a problem.
That.
Right. And then I guess the other real problem is that collecting stamps is trivial.
Exactly. That's the big problem.
And asking...
Oh, yeah, but praying or sending a prayer request to Robert Tilton, that is not trivial, you see.
Who are we? What are we for? What is good and bad? And what is the end of man is not trivial. That's something every person naturally and inevitably confronts. My favorite was probably the nerdy pro-science guy, because it was try hard enough that at least he prepared for it, you know?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a good kind of rhyme or whatever you call it.
It's between him and the black guy who is just like, oh man, I don't care. I don't think about any of this stuff, man. And I thought, well, there's some honesty there at least. All right, okay.
The one that's standing out in my mind was the first girl with the dark circles under her eyes and the short hair.
Don't you love how he just kind of comes out and shows you what he thinks? He just tells you, yeah, I view atheists in the least positive light imaginable.
Haircut, and she talked about the mean...
She's ugly, and she's got a terrible haircut and dark circles under her eyes. Are you kidding me right now?
With the dark circles under her eyes and the short haircut, and she talked about the mean daddy figure.
Yeah.
And I just can't help but feel I want to remember her in my prayers tonight.
Yeah. That was probably the realest one. Probably. Yeah. I agree. It's a good thing to do. Good thing to pray. Even better than arguments. ultimately. See you next time.
God, these people are so cringy and terrible. I cannot stand it. It's so painful to listen to them spout off nonsense constantly. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments.